You know, we've all seen it, right? Companies that slap a shiny new app or a slick website on their business and call it digital transformation. But what's really happening when the engine underneath all that is like 20 years old? Well, today, we're diving into why modernizing your core systems is no longer just some IT project. It's become a critical leadership mandate for 2026.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to peel back that shiny veneer to really look at the legacy bottlenecks holding businesses back. Then we'll talk about why this is a massive leadership opportunity, not just a technical headache. We'll walk through 4 real paths you can take for modernization. And finally, we'll cover the right way to get it done, the correct order of operations, and talk about the huge payoff for leaders who nail this.
All right, let's kick things off with a really common trap. It's this illusion of modernity. Think of it like putting the body of a brand new sports car on top of a rusty old chassis. I mean, it might look fantastic from the outside, but you're definitely not going to win any races with it.
This quote just hits the nail on the head. A polished front end is just that. It's a veneer. If your core systems are brittle, that beautiful exterior isn't just for show, it's a liability just waiting to happen.
Okay, so what are we really talking about here? The veneer is all the stuff your customers see. The slick apps, the nice interfaces, the helpful chatbots. But the core, that's the real engine room. We're talking about your ERP, your billing systems, your core banking platforms. This is where the actual business happens. And it's also where the biggest, most dangerous constraints are hiding.
And see, relying on an outdated core, it's not just a technical issue, it's a huge business problem. It creates this domino effect of problems that can seriously cripple your organization. Let's get into why those quick cosmetic fixes just aren't going to cut it in the long run.
First off, you've got decision latency. I mean, when you can't get good data fast, your business is basically flying blind. Then there's integration debt. Trying to connect shiny new services to an old platform, it's like a puzzle that never fits and it just eats up your innovation budget. Third, concentrated risk. Old systems are basically a playground for cyber threats and a total nightmare for compliance. And finally, unpredictable costs. Those emergency fixes and the constant downtime, they're like a hidden tax you're forced to pay for having a legacy core.
So here's the bottom line, and it's really this simple. Your core system sets the ceiling on your ambition. It literally determines how fast you can move, how safely you can grow, and frankly, how big you're even allowed to dream.
Okay, this is where we need to totally shift our thinking. Modernizing your core is not just another IT project on a long list. It is a strategic leadership opportunity. Especially for businesses in these fast-growing markets, like across Africa, this is a chance to leapfrog the competition, not just play catch-up.
So what's the price? Why go through all this trouble? Well, a modern core gives you a completely new, much more agile way of operating. We're talking faster product launches, data you can actually trust, much stronger security, and maybe most importantly, a solid foundation for the really cool stuff, the game changers like AI.
And listen to this quote from a C-level exec. It just perfectly captures the human side of all this. The real goal isn't just to get new servers or new software. It's to reclaim all that strategic time that's being eaten alive by constant firefighting. It's about letting your leaders actually focus on what's next.
Okay, so if we've all agreed this is a leadership mandate, the next question is obvious. How? How do you actually do it? Well, let's dive into 4 very distinct paths you can take to modernize.
But before we look at those 4 paths, just take a second and think about your own organization. What's your real appetite for risk? What's your team's capacity for a big change? The answer to those questions is going to point you towards the right strategy for you.
All right, let's break these down. First, you've got the incremental approach. Think of it as renovating. It's great if you can't afford any downtime, but the big risk is you end up creating this new complicated patchwork system. Then there's the big bang. Basically, you replace the whole thing. Sometimes this is necessary if your core is just unsalvageable, but you can't underestimate the shock to your organization. Third is parallel, or the greenfield approach. You build a new system on the side for new products. This can work, but you have to be super careful you don't end up running 2 separate cores forever. And finally, there's the platform or partner approach. This is the fastest path, for sure, but the danger is you end up outsourcing your own strategic accountability.
So picking the right path is half the battle. But execution, that's where the war is really won or lost. And this right here is where most organizations get it completely wrong. They start with the technology, when they should be starting with their people and their processes.
This quote just cuts right to the heart of it. If you drop a brand new, expensive system on top of your old, inefficient processes,
what have you really accomplished? You've just preserved the exact same constraint you were trying to get rid of.
So what is the right order of operations? It's this simple. 1. Process. Don't just digitize what you're already doing. Simplify it first. Break it down, build it back better. 2. People. Build up the internal skills and capabilities you're going to need for the future. Invest in your team. And then, and only then, do you get to number 3. Platform. Choose a technology that your team can actually, confidently operate.
And hey, when you are choosing that platform, especially in a dynamic market like you find across Africa, you have to look way beyond the normal tech specs. You have to think about the practical, on-the-ground realities. How fast is their support team, and are they even in your time zone? How predictable are the costs, especially with currencies going up and down? What's the real story with connectivity and data laws? These are not just tech questions, they are business survival questions.
So let's bring this all home and talk about the ultimate prize. When you, as a leader, guide a successful core modernization, you're not just upgrading your tech, you're transforming your entire company. You're literally moving from a state of being constrained to having a real competitive edge.
Now, a transformation this big requires a specific kind of leadership. I like to call it steady hands leadership. It's not about being a hero and making one big decision. It's about consistently providing calm direction, grounded execution, and strategic alignment, especially when things get tough. Think of this slide as your leadership checklist for getting it done.
And here it is. This is the key takeaway for any leader out there trying to sell this vision to their board. The goal is not a new system. Boards don't fund tech for tech's sake. They fund a more dependable, a more resilient, and a more agile operating model that's going to protect and grow the business. That's the language they understand. So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about with your team. Is your core system a strategic asset that's fueling your future growth, or is it an anchor, holding you back with hidden risks and piles of technical debt? The answer to that question is going to determine your fate in 2026 and well beyond.